Okay, who wants to go first? Samuel. Just wait for the microphone, please.
Hi, Erik. After 3 defeats what's the mood like in the dressing room after that defeat? It was quite narrow.
Disappointed. And when you score 3 goals in Munich, at least you have to take a point. But we didn't, and therefore we have to look in the mirror. But the goals were easy giveaways.
Rob.
Okay. Erik, why are the goals so easy giveaways at this moment in time, and how do you explain the Onana mistake at a good time in the game for you?
Yeah, we were first 25 minutes. I think we were better in the game as Munich, and then that goal that was such easy, but it was not only Andre. If you see how easy Sané is coming through, and that has to do with determination. And you don't let play so easy through, and that's the point. We have to cross the line as individual and as a team to win games, because it started there.
BBC.
Erik, does that evening of football, does that performance kind of sum up where the team is at the moment?
What you have seen on a very high level, it was against Arsenal, Bayern Munich, I think, Brighton, all top level teams, and we going head to head, but they win, and then the way they win, we have to make our own look, and that has to do with determination. And then you make your own look, and otherwise, you don't get it, because no one will bring you anything in football.
Laurie.
How was Andre? It seemed that he took the mistake very hard on the pitch.
Yes, and that's good. But as I just before tried, it was not only Andre, and of course he knows he has to stop that ball. But the way that Sané came through, that can't be. And I think the second goal, that is, I think, almost similar over the other side. How easy plays coming through and enter our box and then can finish, can't be. That's what I mean. You have to suffer sacrifices in such situations, to give everything to stop that, and only when we get that in, we go to win games.
Andre has admitted that the start to his career with Manchester United has not been as good as he expected or as he hoped. When you've got a player like that who's obviously not performing at the level you know he can, and his confidence is low, how do you deal with that? Do you take him out of the firing line, or do you talk to him? How do you, as a manager, get him back to the level that you know he can get to?
I think he shows that he takes the responsibility, and that shows personality. And that personality he needs to get in higher levels. But that's not only about him, but I think it's about the team performance. So we have to support him on the pitch. I mean, it's not only be nice. No, we have to help him. But that is not only counting for Andre. I think it's counts for all the players on the pitch. That they have to understand they are with 11, and they are in the same boat, and they have to be on the same page to get the results.
You've known Andre for a long time. You've worked with him before. How do you think he will react to this match, to that era?
But in football, there will always be mistakes. There was one mistake, so we also don't make it bigger than it is. And as I said already, it was not only Andre in that goal, and there were more. And after that, he make in the second half great saves for us. So he shows his capabilities, and he will bounce back. He will, and he is an important player.
Okay, last question, Rob.
Much of last season, you seemed to defend quite well. It was a problem with scoring goals. This season, obviously, you don't seem to be defending as well. Is that an issue because of the injuries, or is it a mentality issue, do you think?
Both. And we only get out this if both we get in.
Thank you very much.
Good evening from the Allianz Arena, where Manchester United have opened their Champions League campaign with a 4-3 defeat to Bayern Munich. A thrilling scoreline, occasionally a thrilling game, but a scoreline that flattered United. Another difficult night in a season full of them already. We're only 6 games into the season, and United have managed to lose 4 of them, and things, there are worrying signs around this team at the moment. They could look at that late rally today and hope it's going to be a turning point. It needs to be a turning point. 2 late goals from Casemiro, but the same things are happening in each defeat for this team, and it's got to be infuriating. Erik ten Hag just held his press conference and has said the players have got to look in the mirror. I believe they were given a serious dressing down at half-time and sent back out early. They were 2-0 down at that point. It was typical of United's defeats this season that for 25 minutes they were the equals at least of Bayern Munich. I think they were probably the better team. Could have been ahead. Pellistri had a fantastic chance. Alphonso Davies just got a toe onto the ball and avoided giving away a penalty. Eriksen should have scored the follow-up. United had 3 corners in the opening 9 minutes. It was a start that was far beyond anything we expected, given the squad they brought to Munich, the injury problems and the absences in Ten Hag's group. And like I said, they kept buying quiet. Kane wasn't in the game. The wingers were quiet. They were defending well. And for 25 minutes, it was a comfortable night when we thought it was going to be anything but. And then something goes wrong for United. Mistakes happen. Onana lets one under his body. He fronted up to the TV cameras after the end of the game and said it was his fault. The goal was clearly his fault. These things happen to goalkeepers. It was his fault. Sane's shot was straight down the middle. Really, he's got to save it. He gets his body position a little wrong. Almost dives over the ball in the end. But at that point, United have just got to regroup. They've got to accept they've been in the game. They're well in the game. They're 1-0 down, but just stay in the game for 10 minutes. Typical of what happens this season. An error happens, something goes wrong, and they're just mentally weak when that happens. There's no other word for it. And they conceded a second 5 minutes later. Serge Gnabry, totally unmarked, 8 yards out, doubles Bayern's lead, and from that point on, it's a difficult night for United. They do deserve some credit for limiting the damage, for making it 4-3 in the end. But like I say, it was a scoreline that flattered them. It's 2-0 at the break. Ten Hag was furious inside the dressing room. The players were back out 4 or 5 minutes before the start of the second half. Fernandes got the team into a huddle on the pitch. And it had some uplift. Højlund scored 4 minutes after the restart. Not the cleanest strike ever, but the way he celebrated with relish in front of the Bayern fans behind that goal. And it dragged United back into the game. Bayern made it 3, a Harry Kane penalty. I didn't think it was ever a penalty, really. An Eriksen handball. He was so close to Diogo Upamecano when he headed it back across goal, and just one of those that it just cannot be a penalty. But it went to VAR. The referee was sent to the monitor. At that point, you always know what's going to happen. Kane scored the penalty, and then at that point, it was arguably United's worst spell of the night. I thought Bayern had so many good chances to make it 4. They were almost trying to walk it in. I think they hit the post 3 times in the end. Chances came and went. Onana did redeem himself. He made some really good saves in that period, and it looked like Bayern were playing in third gear. They'd score a 4th if they wanted, but they were, like I say, they were trying to score the perfect goal, trying to walk it in. They almost got punished. Casemiro scored after 88 minutes, kind of breathed life into the game, gave United a chance of totally getting out of jail. It was telling then that Bayern went straight up the other end and scored through Matthias Tell to make it 4-2. Casemiro got another back with pretty much the last kick of the game to make it 4-3, and the scoreline had a bit of gloss for United, a bit of, a little bit of positivity there. This was a night we all thought they could get drubbed, given the weakness of that bench, given the injuries, given the absences. They didn't get drubbed. They did concede 4, but they scored 3, and they've got to use what happened at the end, use that spirit as hope it's the turning point in this season. It's very early to need a turning point, but 4 defeats in 6 is a shocking start. They've got Burnley away on Saturday, and that is a huge, huge game They are staying in Munich tonight and training here tomorrow before flying back to Manchester. You'd hope maybe that would give them a bit of a lift tomorrow, that those late goals, staying in the game, making it a contest. Like I say, I think the scoreline flattered them. There will be a view that they showed some spirit in the second half. They did. They needed to show spirit at 1-0 though. The way that they start games well and then collapse is really worrying. It was very similar to the Tottenham and Brighton defeats. In both of those games, United have been the better team at the start of the game. They've looked the better side. They've played some really good, tidy football. They've looked a structured team, and then something's gone wrong and they cannot recover. And that is a mentality issue. It was present last season when they'd lose games badly. There's a way to lose games, and United were losing games badly last year. Think of Anfield, the Etihad, Sevilla, Brentford, even Newcastle. Now they're having a similar sort of issue. It's even more infuriating in a way because they look a better team at 0-0. Then as soon as something goes wrong, their heads just drop and they drop out of the game. And that second goal today cost them. It was that spell where there's just no response. And even after the second goal, they initially started walking back to their positions as a group of individuals, really. Fernandes eventually tried to rally them. Martinez screamed at a few players, but it almost felt like a bit of a token effort. And things have got to change now. Like I say, they've got to use that late comeback as a turning point, try and kick on and go again on Saturday. They cannot afford to get beat on Saturday, otherwise we are probably in crisis territory if they get beat on Saturday. This wasn't as disastrous a night as it could have been, but they are conceding too many goals. That's 14 in 5 games now. Bayern could easily have scored 7 tonight. Let's be honest, they scored 4. They could have scored a lot more than that. But United did show a bit of fight at the end. They did come away with some semblance of pride, and they have to build on it going to Turf Moor. That's all from Munich now. Bayern Munich 4, United 3. A disappointing, if not unexpected, start to the Champions League group campaign for United.